Hi, welcome back. So we were talking about what is data science, and here's a working definition for data science. Data science is a science of collecting, storing, processing, describing and modeling data, right? So what we have done here is defined it in terms of the tasks involved, and now let's look at each of these tasks. So as I said, we'll start with collecting data, right? So what is involved in data collection? So this again depends on the question that a data scientist is trying to answer, what kind of problem are you interested in, and it also depends on the environment in which a data scientist is working. And by an environment I mean the organization in which he or she is working, whether it's a data rich organization or it's something like an NGO where you need to go out and collect data and so on, right? So these are the answer to this question, what is involved in data collection actually depends on these two factors, and I'll explain this with the help of a couple of examples, right? So let's start with one example where a data scientist is working at an e-commerce company, right? So think of Amazon or Flipkart, which I would say are data-rich organizations because they have a lot of customers coming in on their websites, a lot of data is being collected on a daily basis, right? Now here's is one among many questions that a data scientist working at Amazon would be interested in, right? So what you see here are different products, right? You see milk and butter and eggs, and then you see forks, spoons, cutlery, and then you see vegetables and keyboard, mouse, laptop accessories and so on, right? So one question which a data scientist is interested in answering is that which items do customers buy together? And the obvious reason for answering this question is so that I can either have targeted ads. I know that today you have bought a laptop, so maybe you would want an external mouse to go along with it, right? Or if you have bought a phone, then you might be looking for additional memory or some other accessory to go along with it, right? Same for food items and so on. So this is an important question. Now, how does a data scientist go about collecting data for him? Given that he's working in a data-rich organization like Amazon, Amazon, as I said, already stores this data, right? So what you see here are all the customers that you have, and their data is already being stored in this database which Amazon has, right? So the data already exists. The data scientist does not have to venture out afresh to collect data, and this distinction between data existing and going out to collect data will become clear when I give the subsequent examples that I have in this topic of collecting data, right? So now here it's clear that data already exists. All that the data scientist needs to know is he should be able to write SQL queries to access this structured data, because right now we are talking about structured data. All of this is stored by Amazon in a structured format. This is not unstructured data flowing in from different sources, right? This is already there within Amazon, right? So that's why you need SQL queries to access this data. And you might also have to write accompanying Python and Java code, right? Because it's not just about accessing data, you'll also have to do something more with it, and you have probably embed your SQL queries inside Python or Java, right? So what you need to do in such situations to collect data is know a bit of programming and some interface with the database, right? You should have some knowledge of SQL. Now just to add to this, it is also possible that Amazon is storing this data not in a structured format in a relational database, but in more unstructured or semi-structured format like a JSON and an XML, in which case you'll also need to know how to interact with these unstructured formats like JSONs and so on. So you'll need to have specific libraries which allow you to access data from these unstructured databases, right? So that's what you need to do in this case where the data already exists, right? Now let's look at another example. So here's a data scientist working for a political party, right? And say this is a party in rule, or this is the current government, the political party of the current government. And now this has come up with a new policy, and now as a data scientist, you are interested in knowing what are people saying about the new policy, right? Is it getting good traction, bad traction? What are the specific aspects of this policy that people are not liking or liking very much and so on? And the ramifications or the implications of this are clear, right? You might want to come up with future steps about what to do with if the policy is not very good, how to correct it and so on, right? So that's very important, and this and very similar questions are of interest to political parties or governments, right? So now what happens in this case? Does the government already have this data? Does the government already know what people are talking about it? Yes and no, because the situation is different from Amazon, which was itself storing data or collecting data. Here the data exists. People are talking about the policies on Facebook, they're talking about it on Twitter, on Reddit discussion forums and so on, right? So the data exists, but the data is not owned by you in some sense, right? You're not storing it within your organization. It's not getting stored in a structured relational database within the political party or within the government also, right? Of course, the government may have its own websites where it encourages citizens to come and give feedback or engage in discussions and so on, but that might only be a part of the data. The main data may be on these more public forums which are readily accessible or which the citizens are more used to, right? And which include all these micro-blogging sites and discussion forums and social media and so on, right? So now in this case, as a data scientist, if you want to collect data, then what you need to do is you need to have again a background in programming. You also need some hacking, crawling skills, right? So you might have to crawl things from different web pages. So someone has written a blog about it. He or she may not have an API readily available for accessing that blog, right? So then what you'll have to do is you'll have to write a crawler to crawl that page and so on, right? Just don't think about it as one page. If it's one page, you could just copy paste and put it in a file, but you might have such multiple websites, or you might have multiple news articles which you want to crawl and see what people are saying about it. And also some of these social media sites like Facebook and Twitter already have APIs. They allow you to access their data, of course with required permissions. You can't go and download anyone's data, but say you have taken the required permissions, or if you have bought certain licenses from them, then you need to know certain APIs to access this, right? So again, what you need is basic programming skills in Python or Java or any popular language, these two being representative of the most popular languages today. And then you need to understand how to work with APIs. You have these API keys, how to access them and so on. And then you also need some hacking, crawling skills, right? You'll have to write a spider to crawl data from various websites, right? So this is what is required in this situation, where the data exists, but it's not necessarily within your organization, as was the case with our first data scientist who was working at Amazon, which is a data-rich organization, right? Now let's look at even more tricky situation, right? So here's another situation where a data scientist is working with farmers, right? And now within an agricultural area or in a particular region, there are different things which influence the yield, right? So for example, in this particular region, in a particular state in India, there might be certain hybrid seeds that the government is promoting or NGOs are promoting because they are known to be effective in other areas. Or there are certain types of fertilizers that people want to use, right? Either the organic ones or maybe the more chemical fertilizers because they lead to certain yields and so on. Or even different irrigation methods, right? Because of this land or this region being water starved, maybe you want to rely more on drip irrigation and other conservative ways of doing irrigation, right? So now you want to understand what is the effect of these different choices on the final yield, right? And you can realize here that they are all going to interact with each other, right? It's not that one hybrid seed working with one type of fertilizer would be similar to the same hybrid seed working with a different type of fertilizer, right? So you have these different things, and now you have to need to have data. Now contrast this with the two situations where you have already seen. Does the data already exist with the farmer or with the NGO or with the government who is interested in this study? Not really, right? Because you don't really know in the entire state, in all the farms, what are people really using. You have an idea of these are the fertilizers which go to the state, but you don't know in what quantities people are using it. Are they actually using the hybrid seeds, or they're relying on the more other seeds which they already have and so on, right? So this is one situation where data is not within the organization. It's not also readily available like was the case on Facebook or Twitter or Reddit. This is where you'll have to venture out and collect data, right? So the situation here is very different. Data is not available, and now you'll have to design experiments to collect this data. What do I mean by that? This is something that we'll do in the next lecture. I mean not this 1 hour of lecture split into smaller parts, but the next lecture itself, where I'll be talking about the importance of statistics, right? But I'll just give you a brief overview here. See, for example, now if you use one particular type of seed, okay, and if that does not give you a good yield, right, does that mean that the seed was bad, or was the irrigation method bad, or was the fertilizer bad, right? So how do you control for these three different treatments that you have? Here, what are the treatments here? One is the type of seed, the other treatment is the type of fertilizer, and the other treatment is the type of irrigation. Now, how do you make sure that you set up an experiment to collect data such that all of these do not confound the effect of each other, right? So one simple way would be, I would take a piece of land, I would divide it into parts, right? Say I divide it into 9 different parts. In one part, in the same area, right? So think of it as a very closed area, not a very big farm, but a smaller farm, in which I put 9 different areas, created 9 different grids there. In one grid, I use one combination of seed, one combination of fertilizer, and one combination of irrigation method. In another part of the field, I use a different thing, and so on. So I need to design the experiment in such a way that I allow all the combinations to flourish and have enough samples of these so that I can exactly say that one combination works better than the other, right? So this is what I mean by need to design experiments, and here you need to understand statistics, which has a good theory for designing these randomized control experiments, and then how to draw conclusions from them by using sound statistical tools such as hypothesis testing and analysis of variance and other things, right? So that's a very tricky situation as compared to the previous 2 situations that we have, and statistics plays a very important role here. And this kind of data science is actually required in a lot of situations. Governments, NGOs, small businesses, all of them require this kind of data science where you need to design experiments to collect data. Even for big companies, right, if you want to say find out whether one type of advertisement is better than the other, how do you design this experiment is an interesting challenge, right? So that's the third situation where a data scientist needs to work, and a different skill set is required for collecting data. In particular, you need to have a good understanding of statistics, right? So now in summary, what are the different skills required for collecting data? Intermediate level of programming for sure. You should be proficient in Python or Java or any one language. Stick to one of those, it should be fine. What is more important, that you understand these constructs in programming, right? You know what a while loop is, you know how to declare variables, you know how the syntax works and so on, how to write functions, how to write maybe object-oriented code if you really have to write large amounts of code and all. So these concepts should be clear to you. Second is you should have some knowledge of databases, because for collecting data, invariably you will have to interact with some data, at least in some situations, as was the case in Amazon, and maybe in the second case also, right? You might have some small data in-house that you want to interact with the database and get that. So that is also an essential skill. And the third often ignored skill is the knowledge of statistics, right? If you want to design experiments to collect data, if you want to set up a data collection experiment, then you need to have sound knowledge of statistics to understand how to collect data so that it's not biased and there is no confounding effect of different variables that could affect the final measurement that you are trying to take. And in our example, the measurement was the yield of the crop or the increase in the yield of the crop, right? So these are the different skills that a data scientist requires for collecting data depending on the organization, environment, and the question that he or she is trying to solve, right? I'll end this video here, and we have zoomed into the first aspect of collecting data. I'll come back and talk about storing data. Thank you.